My name is Aria Lawson. I am 25. And the first time my family taught me what I am to them was the morning they canceled my birthday for my sister's date. We are postponing your party, sweetheart, my mother said, voice smooth, as polished silver Clara has dinner with the mayor's son. And we need the house perfect. She was arranging white roses like we were staging a museum exhibit, not our living room in Brookfield, Connecticut. My father buffed a serving tray that hadn't seen daylight in a decade, Clara. Drifted in wearing a cream dress, I had unknowingly helped pay for the kind of dress that announces a price tag. Before a person 25 isn't a milestone, she cooed the way people do. When they have never had to earn anything, no streamers, no pancakes, no one even said happy birthday, just an efficient reallocation of resources, my birthday. Moved aside like a chair in their path to Julian Ashford I attention. I stood there in the kitchen with the expensive espresso machine I had bought them hissing behind me and felt something more than anger split cleanly inside. For 18 months I had carried our mortgage in my veins, $3,200 a month wired from my account to theirs. I covered insurance, property taxes, the lawn service my mother insisted increased curb appeal, and the fees for the cleaning lady who knew my schedule better than my mother did. I was the reliable one, the practical one, the daughter who could work 60-hour weeks at Ridgeline, and Ames, the youngest senior analyst to handle corporate restructurings alone and still come home to be the quiet gravity that kept the Lawson household in orbit. They didn't just cancel a party, they canceled the illusion. I needed that I mattered here, except as a line item. Could you call the guests? My mother asked, relieved. When I nodded, understanding, Aria, good girl, her eyes already moved past me to the crystal, the flowers, the choreography of impressing the Ashfords. I climbed the stairs to the room I had moved back into 2 years ago to help us through temporary rough patch, opened my laptop, and pulled up the banking dashboard where my family's life had become a spreadsheet. I managed tomorrow's mortgage transfer glowed on the screen like a promise I no longer intended to keep. I clicked into the settings and paused it. My thumb hovered just long enough to let the past plead its case. Then I confirmed the relief was physical, like setting down a box I had been pretending wasn't heavy. My phone buzzed. Naomi Blake, my best friend since college, just landed. Where am I meeting the birthday girl? Change of plans. I typed, meet me at the Hartford Marriott. We are celebrating differently downstairs. My mother rehearsed the performance upstairs. I rewrote the script. I searched for downtown apartments. I checked the property tax portal. Next payment due in 10 days. I opened my insurance account and scheduled removals, not sabotage, not revenge, removal of subsidies. Reality restored by the time I slid behind the wheel of my old Civic, headed for the airport. The sky over I-90. One was the color of pewter. Naomi's red hair flashed like a flare at the arrival's curb. She threw her arms around me and whispered, happy birthday, CFO of everyone's mess, into my ear. We drove into Hartford, and I told her everything: the canceled party, the 18 months, the catalog of small humiliations that only makes sense when you stack it in columns and totals. How long? She asked. When I said mortgage, 18 months, I said. Her whistle cut the air. That is not help, that is triage on a patient who refuses the surgery. In the lobby bar, she ordered champagne I did not think I deserved, and I pulled up the spreadsheets. No one in my family had ever asked to see car insurance, health premiums, the gym membership my sister never used, but liked to flash, the boutique subscriptions, the BMW lease in Clara's name that I had cosigned because our parents said I had the credit profile for it, the mileage, overage, the unreported door, dent, the penalties waiting like sharks. Just under the surface, my father's office lease in a building that said success without earning it, the club dues, the timeshare brochures labeled investments stuffed in a file in his desk, the crypto pitch deck, the multi-level supplement scheme, the IRS letters I showed Naomi, the forged loan application I discovered in May with my name scrolled in my sister's soft round hand, the investigator's report I had commissioned afterward, because I wanted facts admissible in court if it came to that. I had been documenting everything because I document for a living, every debt, every transfer, every petty justification. I could save other people's companies in my sleep, my own family. They mistook my competence for a bottomless well. What is the plan? Naomi asked, eyes steady like she was bracing the door for me. Consequences. I said, not cruelty, clarity. I had already drafted the sequence mortgage transfer, canceled after due date, to trigger a notice that would pierce denial, insurance removals effective month. Property taxes left for them to discover before liens began, subscriptions canceled in a falling row of dominoes. So Clara would feel for the first time the gravity of money. I would move out before the first wave hit, so my resolve would not soften at the sound of my mother crying. I had a contract offer from a Hartford startup, nearly my salary with flexibility to build my own client list. I had a loft approved, a landlord waiting on my signature, a life of my own shockingly affordable once I stopped underwriting their performance. We raised our glasses to strategic mercy. Naomi said to no longer mistaking rescue for love. I answered and wrote a short note to accompany the champagne I had scheduled for delivery to my parents' dinner. Congratulations on prioritizing what matters most. Love, Aria. They would read grace. I meant goodbye. The lights of Hartford came on outside the hotel windows, one building at a time, a city exhaling into evening. I closed the laptop. Tonight my family would have exactly what they chose, a perfect scene focused entirely on my sister's future. Tomorrow would teach them what happens when you neglect the foundation to decorate the facade. Sunday morning my phone shrilled against the silence of the Hartford hotel suite. I almost did not answer, but habit still had a grip on me. My mother's voice cracked through the line. Aria, thank God. The bank called. Our mortgage payment was rejected. There has to be some mistake. Fix this now. Through the wide window sunlight washed the city gold. I said good morning first, because that mattered to me. Then calmly, I told her there was no mistake. I had not paid. The silence on the other end was heavy, broken only by my father's voice asking urgent questions. She could not answer. What do you mean you did not make the payment? She whispered. I told her again. I had canceled the transfer. My father came on speaker, his voice rising, demanding. I laid it out. The insurance policies removed, effective tomorrow. The property taxes due in 9 days. The BMW lease violations, the phone lines, the gym memberships, the subscription boxes. You can figure it out, I said evenly. You have always had options. You just never needed to use them. The explosion was immediate. My mother pleading, my father bargaining, my sister shrieking about her car, her phone, her dinner at the country club next weekend. They talked over one another until their panic became white noise. When I cut through, my voice was calm enough to startle even me. Do you know how much I have carried? $4,800 every month. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, luxuries. I have records of everything. Your debts, your loans, Clara's credit card balances, the forged application she tried to slip through with my name on it. I have been your safety net that ends today. Clara's voice cracked sharp, calling me vindictive, cruel, obsessed with a birthday. That word, stupid, was the nail. She still thought this was about cake and candles. I told her what would happen with her car, the repossession looming, her phone, her subscriptions, all cut off, her modeling fund dead. If she wanted to keep up appearances, maybe Ethan Ashford would pick up the tab, or she could get a real job like most 23-year-olds. My father, still trying diplomacy, offered loans, repayment structures, a temporary compromise. I laughed, not with joy, but with the dark recognition of how blind they had been. I have been warning you for 2 years. You ignored me because it was easier to bleed me dry than to grow up. They fell into the sound I had been waiting for all along, the murmuring of people actually confronting reality. No more. Aria will handle it. No more. Aria will cover it. Now they were the ones with timelines and consequences. My mother asked what I wanted: respect, accountability, acknowledgement that I was not a resource, but a person. I have accepted a new job. I am moving out. I am prioritizing my own future. My father's voice cracked on the word moving. My mother's whispered, you are leaving us. I told them the truth. I am moving on. Clara begged in the background, desperation finally puncturing her honeyed tone. I can't show up in Dad's haunt. What will I tell Ethan? I said the words with steel. Tell him the truth, or tell him nothing. That choice is yours. And for once only yours. The panic dulled, replaced by stunned quiet. I told them they had 10 days to cover the mortgage. The same options any family would: cut expenses, sell assets, find income. I was not special. They were not helpless. They had just convinced themselves they were. I ended the call, turned off the phone, stared out at Hartford, a city alive with strangers living their own chosen lives. For the first time in years, I was about to join them. By Wednesday, the flood began. Texts from my mother: insurance lapsed. I can't drive. From my father: bank demands $34.72 plus fees. What do we do? From Clara: they cut my phone mid-call with Ethan. Fix this now. Their unraveling painted itself across my screen in frantic strokes. Then Victor Hale, my father's business partner, called directly. He has been siphoning $18,000 from the firm to cover personal bills. Victor said, his voice edged with fury. If he does not replace it, we can't make payroll. I will dissolve the partnership. I will report him. I sat there, the weight of my father's theft crashing through me. He had not just mismanaged. He had stolen from employees, from a business justified by the lie that his reliable daughter kept the roof steady. The next ring chilled me further. Ethan himself, polite, deliberate, Miss Lawson, Clara. Asked me to call. She says you are withholding funds that are causing issues with her car and phone. My laugh was sharp, humorless. I explained without venom the truth. I no longer subsidize their lives. Ethan was quiet. Clara implied this was sibling jealousy, a spat about a birthday. But what you are saying, this is serious. His voice shifted, measured, calculating. I will ask her for honesty. Thank you for your candor. I hung up, shaking a mix of vindication and sorrow. Even Clara's new prince would see through her illusions now. That night, Margaret Ellis called. She had driven up for the canceled party and found herself in the middle of collapse, my mother crying, my father muttering about bankruptcy. Clara locked in her room. Are you really prepared to let them lose the house? She asked, voice taut. I said yes. Because maybe they needed to lose it. Maybe only fire teaches some people not to play with matches. They are trying. Margaret whispered, your father's been to 3 banks. Your mother called everyone. She knows. Clara applied for 6 jobs yesterday. I closed my eyes. Progress, painful, humiliating, but progress for the first time in years. They were learning effort, they were learning hunger, they were learning life. By Thursday, the pounding at my apartment door came with a name I had not expected to see so soon. Clara, her eyes were swollen, her hair scraped back into a ragged ponytail, and her designer glow was gone, replaced with the dull exhaustion of someone who had been crying more than sleeping. She stood in jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt, not the curated image she used to polish like armor. Can I come in? She asked, voice stripped bare. I stepped aside. She looked around the loft, her gaze catching on the simple furniture, the desk where spreadsheets glowed on my laptop screen. The sense of order, this is really nice, she murmured, almost as if seeing for the first time that I had built something beyond the Lawson house. I have been saving for it for years, I said. And we sat in silence until the words finally broke from her. Ethan broke up with me yesterday, flat-like. She had rehearsed it too many times to let it sting. I braced myself for venom. But what came next disarmed me. He said he did not like being misled, that he wanted honesty, not illusions. He was right. I have been pretending to be someone I am not. And I do not even know who I really am. Her voice wavered. And for the first time in years, I saw not the smug younger sister I had carried, but a girl who had never once been asked to carry herself. How do you do it? She whispered. How do you pay bills, save money, plan a future, and not fall apart? My laugh was soft, sad. Do fall apart, Clara. It is not easy, but it is discipline. It is choosing what matters and sacrificing for it. It is work every single day. She nodded, blinking rapidly. I applied for a full-time job, marketing assistant, only $32,000 a year. But it is something, and I am selling my clothes, my jewelry. They said I could get maybe $15,000. I am trying, Arya. Her voice cracked on that last word. And for the first time, it was not manipulation. It was truth. I felt pride slip in where bitterness had lived so long. She was finally touching reality with her bare hands. That is a start, I said. Do not stop, keep walking toward it. She nodded again, her chin trembling. Mom's talking about working full-time. Dad says he will pay Victor back, but he does not know how they are angry at you. But they are also realizing. She looked at me, and her eyes held a clarity I had never seen before. We treated you like a machine, like your money was not yours. We were awful. I felt something loosen inside. Had not hated her, not ever. I had hated what she represented. Had she demanded of me. I never wanted to punish you, I told her. I wanted you to grow, for all of us to grow. She stood to leave, her hand lingering on the back of the chair. I do not know if Mom and Dad will ever admit it, she said quietly. But I am going to try to be different. I do not want to be that girl anymore. When she closed the door behind her, I sat in the silence. And for the first time since the party was canceled, I felt something stronger than relief, hope. 3 months past December. Snow softened Hartford streets, and my consulting firm, Lawson Financial Solutions, was days from its official launch. My phone rang, my mother's number. Her voice was unsteady, but not with panic, tentative, almost humble. Arya, I hope I am not interrupting. I needed to tell you something. We saved the house barely, but we did. Your father sold the Cadillac. I sold jewelry. Clara sold her things, and I took a full-time position at the regional library, head of adult literacy. I love it. Her voice caught, but she pressed on. Your father's business. He adapted smaller office, modern software, virtual services. His revenue is up 30. And Clara, she is in night school for business, working full-time. And she is dating someone who makes her laugh, not someone who makes her pose. I listened, a lump in my throat, to words I had once believed I would never hear. Change, real change. Most of all, she whispered, I need you to know I am sorry. We were not just taking your money, we were taking your future, treating you like Resource not our daughter, and I hate that it took losing you to see it. I stared out at the skyline, where my new life shimmered. And for the first time I let myself believe she meant it. At Christmas, I drove back to Brookfield. The house was humbler, stripped of performance. My father, apron crooked, argued with Clara's new boyfriend about turkey basting times. My mother's laugh was real, Clara's smile was genuine. And my father pulled me aside, pressed an envelope into my hand. 500, the first payment. Back to you, not because you need it, because we owe it, because respect requires repayment. For once his eyes did not demand, they offered. I cried harder at that envelope than I had at the rejection. Notice they once feared. 6 months later, another envelope arrived with their regular repayment check. And a birthday invitation, not for Clara, but for me. Nothing elaborate, just family and friends, celebrating someone we love and respect. I held the letter in trembling hands, thinking back to the morning of my 25th, when my birthday was canceled for a dinner that never lasted. Now, my family wanted to honor me not for what I gave, but for who I was. The crisis I engineered had not destroyed us. It had remade us. Canceling their mortgage payment had not been vengeance, it had been the gift of truth. And in the end, it gave me the greatest gift of all, a life of my own, and a family finally worthy of my love. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. If Arya's story spoke to you, subscribe to Legacy Forsaken, where we reveal the hidden battles behind closed doors and the strength it takes to win.